Oh yeah.
Embassy suites every time, and I stayed, man, at least a week to 10 days every time.
And see, me and Dave at that time were doing a lot of stuff, little things together, me and Dave Wilson. And the one that was so true to the game was Kevin and Noe. Both of them came, and they came strong. So when they came strong, they began to put their own spin on it. Now, I couldn't predict that it was going to be this successful. But the fact that it is, and the fact that it's going strong, and I've been looking at some of the puppies on this site, and different things like that, and no matter how much I would like to be able to say, well, you know, because I came strong, look, it's his creativity, the dedication that he had to Midwest Monsters, and then collaborating with people like Noe, like I said, and bringing the lounge together, and now it's off the chain. I've seen you guys come together faster than I actually seen when Dave and I both were starting back at the time. You guys have come together with some stuff that's awesome. So, you know,
we came up under you though, boy, you know what I'm saying?
That's cool, but we have to talk about what's happening now. We have to talk about what's doing it now, you know.
That's what I was saying before you start with the questions. I just want to say for the people listening to the audio, we're sitting here with you know, one of the founders of the American Bully breed, Mr. New Trojan himself. Thanks for sitting down with us, first of all.
I'd love to. It's a pleasure.
I can't even imagine what we're going to get into when Zeb starts firing with the questions. But as far as the podcast goes, we're just happy that Zeb was gracious enough to let us sit in on the interview he's about to do. So thanks to both of you guys. Like he was saying, without what you created, you know, Rolex, one of the first dogs I see. I was telling these guys earlier, I probably visited your site 614 times. I mean, it was just something that was like, you know, you're looking at like how the fuck is he doing that? Like, how is that? You know, and how do I get something like that? But this is all the way 2008, 2009.
Right.
You know, so it's years after you're already.
And he already had established a consistent line.
Right. Exactly.
When you saw that new Trojan dog, you was like, that's new Trojan.
Knew it.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
By the markings, the look of the dog, you knew right away just by looking at that dog, that's a new Trojan dog. Had that dog bred, and you already looking to hit the new Trojans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can pick it out. That's when you didn't make it, when you get a consistent line.
Even now.
Consistent look.
Even now, there's traits that come out of these dogs now that come directly from.
I got major traits directly from him,
right.
from his yard. Right. And like I said, even my style of breeding came directly from his yard. Right. Yeah.
And see, some of the dogs that they've given other names now to, that come out of some of the lines like Do Good and Gray Line. You know, before he passed away, Tony, I was good friends with Tony. And that's how I was able to acquire, I had SHOCKA and Mustang. SHOCKA was one of Tony's really favorite all blue pits, and she was so athletic and so well put together that I remember a guy had bought her and Mustang from Tony, and I was able to get both of them back. And SHOCKA, being MONSTA G's mother,
right.
Once I had that, and it was out of that do good stuff, I knew that if I could get some consistency from it, that I would get some good dogs. And I was able to do business with people like Cruz. You know Cruz, right? You know Cruz as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and Cruz got Piggy from me and a couple of other Blow. Yeah, from. And these dogs all came out of that one line. Now the funny part about it, MONSTA G's mother, and that's why I guess we have so much of his stuff floating around, was SHOCKA. And she, for some reason, would only have 2 puppies. Only 2. I gave one to another gentleman, and I never ever got a chance to find out what happened to it. I don't know where he is. But to make a long story short, we got MONSTA G from that. And we were able to keep MONSTA G in with some of the stuff from kin folks like Brianna. Race certified.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Brianna's race certified production, and out of that from Showtime. Gray Line Showtime. And so we were able to bring some of that, the Brianna stuff back to that, and with, to be absolutely on the point with it, Showtime is Juan Gotti's mother. Okay, so we were able to take some of that and put with MONSTA G and, you know, get some good stuff like the Rolex stuff and different stuff like that.
That's great. OG Gray Line.
Right,
OG
OG,
Gray Line,
yeah,
right,
the
right.
beginning of it.
OG Gray Line.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
That's, you know, Zeb said it too, the first time I seen the video of Juan Gotti coming out of that gate in the backyard with, you know, when Richard was bringing him out, it was all over for me.
And you remember MONSTA, right?
yeah, MONSTA was nice too.
He actually tell him how you say MONSTA.
Yeah,
Saved him.
yeah, saved him, yeah. Richard had bred Juan Gotti to a female he had, and when he bred her to that female, she was giving birth, and the dog was, MONSTA was breached. It was in sideways. And so Rich didn't know what to do. He's over there panicking and everything. I said, hey man, you just can't just let it stay like that. And she's panicking and straining and so forth and so on. So I just say, man, just give me the gloves. He gave me the gloves, and I was able to reach in, turn it the right way, and pull him out. And we got him out. He came out with one other one that didn't quite make it, but MONSTA did. And he turned out to be a hell of a dog. Jack, I think, had him. And then Richard got him back. But MONSTA was Richard Barajas' MONSTA was a nice, muscular, beautiful pit, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's
But he was a real dog. You remember Richard used to chase us out that damn house?
Oh,
He didn't
yeah.
try to.
Oh,
the monster
no,
chased
the
us out.
monster
We go in Richard's house.
He would bite.
And
He would
Richard
really
come through, hold him, and man, you would get out there. You just be flying out the front door. Like,
Oh,
nah,
yeah.
hell no, Rich, you can't hold that dog. Monster come in, pull him.
Yeah.
He want you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And to think of all the stuff, all the strains that come off from all the different, you know, yards that were built based on just MONSTA himself, you know, and Gotti too, and Rolex too, and Strike too, and MONSTA G too, you know.
Right. It's a lot, and it goes really far. You know, Liz Powers had also got. Are you familiar with Liz Powers? She's out
I've
there.
heard
She's
the
in
name,
Canada,
yeah.
and she's got some really nice dogs out there off of MONSTA G as well. So yeah, it built a nice little legacy, and like I told you, I'm just so in love with what KEV just did and what a lot of the lounge members have done, because it's so consistent. And if you look at the puppies and you look at the parents, and I mean, you can see that this is all just busting out from the line. You know, not so much watered down,
Right.
but consistent breedings that make consistent stuff. So, like I
And
said,
see, a lot of people don't even know, you know, when they got their pets, but they don't go all the way back. So they don't even know, like all that Tonka stuff, that Rock and Ruby, all that stuff come off of that MONSTA G and Raina. That come off of his
yeah,
stuff.
right now.
Yeah. Mr. Pink, De Niro, all that stuff was off of his stuff. You know, it's loads of dogs that was new Trojan stuff.
Oh yeah, Pink
was
Champel
living.
too. You know,
Yeah, Pink Champel. Pink Champel right here.
Yeah, so her
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
She came. She's a MONSTA G daughter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, she's a
Crazy
granddaughter.
how
She's
Well, I'm
a
sorry.
boom boom.
You're
Yeah.
right. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
not a boom. You're right.
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 Boom, boom.
Yep.
That was another dog. The bone that, because I never seen shit like that.
Yeah.
You see Gotti, and Gotti was impressive, but he didn't have that bone like that.
No, Gotti was more up and out. He was long. He's kind of long, but MONSTA had. MONSTA did.
Right.
So it went back, and he picked some of that up from back, because it's usually 3/4 from each side. So he picked up some of that, and was really muscular and really well put together.
Right.
Better than his father. Better than his father. So.
And that's I've as soon as I seen the bone that King Boom Boom had, El Rey Boom Boom had, it was like, I've been chasing, like, I want that since that day. You know what I mean? So probably why my stuff has bone now. You know, why people come to me for that shit is probably because of staring at that dog for hours and hours. It's crazy.
And that's what I was talking to Kev too about. Soon, I'm gonna need to outcross and come back to some of the original stuff he had. We were talking about that when he was coming out here. I'm gonna have to get at least a couple of females to cross back to, because I'm jammed up on both sides with some of the stuff that we're doing, and we're not doing any selling right now because we're trying to perfect what we're doing. But at the same time, I need those ingredients that we're talking about now in order to get it to where we want it to be.
So look for some collaborations.
Oh yes.
I'm trying to bring the OG back outside.
All right.
All that, and Zeb hasn't even started asking fucking questions.
Okay. Well,
Well, you got just sit back hearing and learning. And I actually wanted to take it back to the early beginnings of how the scene was in South Central during that time. When did bullies first actually come on the scene in South Central?
well, what happened was everybody was transforming because of all of the game dogs and transferring into the working dogs more. And I mean, that was kind of like the beginning of the ADBA and stuff like that. And those were going to be for the working dogs, you know, the dogs that pull weight, the dogs that hit the bags and different things like that. And so they started to get into a heavier, more muscular dog, more so than a dog that had more stamina, more bite, you know, and that was trimmed down. It could just go all day long. So this got us more or less on the legal side of having the dogs, having something that can be impressive, nice, and that can still work, but not really geared as much to be a fighting dog, you know. Pretty much like having a bodybuilder, you know. We were getting into having bodybuilders that could look good and, you know, that could actually interact with UKC and some of the other things that didn't really want to have the name Pitbull incorporated into their registry. You know, it was always staff or am staff and stuff like that. So we started at that area and started to move it over. And even I've had some people, I don't know if you guys heard of, what was Tiffany's kennel called?
Abel Paul.
Abel Paul.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, she got a whole host of dogs to try to move over to that too, as well, because she was in, you know, she was really into the super showy stuff that was correct and, you know, so much at the withers and this and that and the other, as opposed to what we were into, the bodybuilders, you know, the ones that could show muscle but still have that, you know.
That's a term I use all the time now, you know, describing American bullies. They're bodybuilders, you know, they should be treated like a bodybuilder, fed like a bodybuilder, exercised like a body. I mean, they're bodybuilders, that's what they are. The amount of muscle, you know, it's almost a double muscle gene, some of these dogs, you know, like they almost have more muscle than you think genetics are gonna allow. You gotta treat them like a bodybuilder.
Right, right. And then too, you know, I guess you could say proportion is something that we started to breed for too, because it had to evolve from just, well, who can breed the dog with the biggest head? That used to be the big focus.
Right.
But now I guess the focus is more or less the all-around appearance of the dog. You know, leg, bone, body, you know, correctness as much as you can with the bully. And, you know, just an overall good show look. And that's what we've been trying to create.
Who were the pioneers behind that? On that scene during that time?
Well, Dave was one of the ones, because Dave started off with Showtimes way back with Knuckles. And when he had Knuckles was winning all kinds of shows everywhere. And when Dave and I first hooked up and Dave flew out, you know, he was able to go some of the championships with him that he had gotten through showing Knuckles. And then when he seen MONSTA G and some of the dogs, we got together and I made a deal with him. I got Raina from Dave Wilson. So bringing that together with MONSTA G, we were able to produce a lot of the other dogs like Piggy and, like you said, Blow and
Right.
so forth and so on.
I had Cookie.
Cookie too,
Yeah.
yes. So Dave began to get into it, and Dave was really basically at that time AKC, UKC. He was into the shows, and at that time, I think Dave was married to Jenny, and Jenny was into the show. She was a judge, as a matter of fact. So when he started to make the transformation and stuff like that, I really liked some of the dogs that he had that were beginning to look just a little bit bully, smaller heads, but nice bodies. So I was able to take Raina and start putting in with some of my stuff, like MONSTA G and Rolex. Some of the stuff out of, Rolex, we had put with another dog that he had named China that really made some really nice puppies too. So, you know.
He sent you Leilani?
Leilani,
So,
yeah.
so you took some of Dave's stuff because you liked the bodies,
I
wanted
like
to add
the
a little more, but you knew the heads behind your stuff would help
Right.
counterbalance the stuff that was
And
coming.
make it, and get some, and correctness, because, you know, if you notice when they first started with bullies, a lot of them really had some weird back ends, and some of them had some really bold front ends, and when you look at how good they look to you, they really weren't workers then, because the bone structure was so bad that running and pulling and jumping, that wasn't going to be happening. So we had to try to get as much over to the body that a lot of the staffs had, but then still try to get the head, because, here's this nice body with this narrow head, and a lot of them out there now are like that too. We just wanted to make sure that wasn't going to be.
Yeah, it's like that shit's come back to the front right now. A lot of nice bodies, but narrow heads,
Narrow
terrier
heads.
style heads.
Yeah, so and a lot of that is just from watering down. Not trying to, stabilize that gene pool where you're getting the majority of genes from the side of whatever dog you want in the puppies. They'll start off with something and then go to something totally different, and then it throws the whole thing off. And a lot of people don't realize if you look at a dog, that's not necessarily what you're gonna get. Because you're gonna get something from the grandparents and so forth and so forth, and it's on both sides. So you have to try to balance that out to centralize genes to where you can pretty much try to predict consistency.
It gets consistent where it can't be nothing but that. It
Right.
can't. The bubble is like this. It can't go outside of that.
What was the breeding philosophy for people during that time?
Well, like I said, it started out, everybody just was so intrigued by head size at first. Even when I could go to Richard's house sometimes, he would be like, man, I got such and such puppy. Come on, let's measure his head. That was everything. Everybody was really intrigued by head size because it gave that intimidating look. And then the bite on a dog was important then too. I remember I had that ball back there. I throw MONSTA G a basketball, and he bite it and bust it immediately. A basketball, and that power. So a lot of those things intrigued us. And then MONSTA G had some unusual muscle, and keeping that in line. It was one of the things that everybody was trying to do. Everybody was like, man, I love his body, man. You think we can get together and do this? And if I put this with this? And I said, well, what's on the other side of it? If you start to look at what's on the other side, you'll start to, see if we can work with that. So, with some of the people, even though it was a weak counter side, you talk to them and say, well, I want to do it anyway. And, they want to say, well, I'll pay you this to do it. And, you say, well, this is going to be your puppies now. I'm telling you, that's what I want. And you do it, and then
that shit ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
That shit be ugly as fuck.
That's
you come out with
nice
the Wizard
way
of
of
Oz,
saying
right, So a lot of that went on. But for us, for the people that were really serious, we knew how we wanted to do, who we wanted to do it with, and what to expect of it to come out.
Right. What were you trying to how happy were you when your MONSTA G did come out, and how happy were you with the stuff he was trying to produce? Were you trying to change anything about him moving forward?
Yeah, we're trying to get more correctness out of him, of course. But the main thing we wanted to do is try to see if we could establish some consistency and not have a one-hit wonder, And what I mean by one-hit wonder is, you got him, but all of the things that you're producing off of him, it's not like and kind.
Right.
So, you know, you say to yourself, now where do I go with it now? I know what I have here, but I don't know how to get it again. So that was always the focus of Mario and I, was to try to see the best way to head toward consistency, to get the same thing or improve on it, you know. And like I said, Raina was one of the major moves that we made with Dave that really turned out well. It really turned out well. And like I said,
it's history. It's in the fucking. No one's ever gonna forget that breeding ever. You know, it's gonna be. I mean, but there probably is people now. When you say that don't know.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on repeat breedings?
well, remember, like I said, repeat breedings. It just each time you do a breeding, there's a possibility you could reach back to things further down in the line. So a repeat breeding is good to do just to see if it's going to have consistency. But if you do that repeat breeding and you see that it doesn't produce that consistency, you know, a lot of times people say, well, I'm going to go away from that. But each time you do that breeding, it's going to be somewhat different. Each time it's going to touch maybe more the grandfather's side, or maybe on this side, or maybe the grandmother's side on that side. But at any rate, you can always take that. It didn't turn out so swell, but you can bring it back to something that's in that line and get it again because of the gene pool, you know. So, you know, we would always keep even some of the things that you guys probably would, well, everybody would call culls, just to try to see if bringing that back into something else.
We literally just had this conversation before you guys pulled up.
Yeah,
You know about you take maybe a ugly sister out of the litter, but if the litter's cold, you know, real nice dogs, you take the ugly sister and produce consistently even with her.
Yeah, and I'll tell you like this: if you've ever seen two African babies that look terrible, and then you see their daughter, she's Miss America, that just tells you it's reaching back somewhere else. So, you know, it's genealogy. It's being able to, you know, go into the gene pool, you know. And then, like I say, you know, a better analogy is, you know, in junior high school, you may see a young lady, look at that. And, you know, you see her now, and you be like, oh my God, baby, come here, you know what I'm saying? That's what happens, you know, the gene, and then it takes time as well, you know, for the genes to all, you know, for all to materialize to where you can see what it is that you actually have. So, and that usually takes anywhere from 15 months to 2 years, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. And a lot of this stuff, I think, like, especially Kev's stuff, develops, you know, real slow. You know, and then you just collaborated with Rob with the bully market stuff, and his stuff developed slow also. The bus didn't finish out till he's about a little over 3 even. So that's gonna be you got a long wait to find out what really is coming. You know, there's a lot of potential in that stuff.
yeah. But see, breeding, the concept in breeding is you have to be patient. You know, who would ever thought that looking at Shaq's mother that would be her son? You know what I mean? 7 feet tall or whatever, and his father wasn't 7 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? So again, you know, when you're dealing with this type of thing, you have to really be patient enough with it to take time to see what it is you're getting out of it. You know what I mean? Now, if you don't have the patience, it's going to be a lot of hit and miss. You know what I mean? Because you're going to try this and then work. Okay, you know, you might say that I'm gonna kick this to the curb.
We just talked about all that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you really should have stayed with that.
You should have stuck with it and fixed it.
Absolutely.
You should have, you know, instead of just throwing the whole project away and now you starting over.
Right.
Do you
Just
think
stay focused.
there is a reason why you would start over though? Is there, if certain things came out, would there be a reason to scrap certain parts of the line?
Well, with the nucleus, no. There's certain reasons why I wouldn't stay on the same breedings, or I wouldn't do a certain breeding again. There may be things some traits that have come out that I know I don't need that at all, so I wouldn't do that again. Now, there could be, let's say for instance I had 2 sisters that I'm gonna use to try to see if I can incorporate it in. One of the sisters might have something coming out that I don't want anything, so we wouldn't mess with her again, but the other sister might be fine. It just depends on where her gene pool is taken. So, you know,
That's the benefit of being able to keep and house and breed a lot of dogs, a lot of, you know,
Right.
a lot of your productions.
yeah.
And to be patient and not just, you know, trying to make money and sell everything off.
That's
You
right.
gotta build your own yard first. You build yours.
And that makes the difference between a person who wants to get a dog just to have a pet, a dog, or who wants to say, oh, I want a nice looking dog, but I'll buy one from KEV, or one that's going to be a breeder that's going to make their own. That's the difference between the two. So,
Just thinking back during that scene during that time, who were like some of the major breeders during that time? Just speaking like, for example, with Tony Moore, how important was he to the startup?
oh, Tony Moore was extremely important to it. Do Good Kennels with Warren Westbrook was very, very important to it. Again, like I said, after Ray Certified got Brianna from Tony Moore, I mean, he became an integral part as well, but he still got it from Tony Moore, you know, so, and at that time,
Certified's in a lot of shit too,
Oh, yeah.
up and down.
and there was a lady judge for UKC where Tony got Showtime from. And when he brought Showtime in, you know, if you would look at Showtime, you would have never thought that she would be producing these type of things, you know, real narrow head and kind of tall and wiry, you know, not low to the ground and, you know, just tall and wiry, but.
I remember that picture that they used of her, she didn't really
No.
seem like that, did it?
Well, if you would have seen SHOCKA and Mustang, you would have been like, oh my God. Yeah,
Right.
because I mean, SHOCKA looked like a boy, just like a big boy. But, you know, this was one of her offspring.
OG she-male.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Mustang too.
He talking
How
about
did
Mustang all the time.
Razor's Edge
Yeah.
incorporate out here to
Well, I was looking for
California during that time?
I was looking for something to outcross to, and I don't know, I looked at several kennels. This guy that had, I'm trying to think of his name, but anyway, he was out. This guy, I looked at his kennels. He seemed to have some nice dogs, but a lot of the stuff that he was using was just none of it had any bullying at all. And like I said, I didn't want to have to try to figure out which one of my males I was going to take it to. So I happened to be looking, just searching and back then, and saw Dave's Kennels out there. And I saw a lot of his dogs, and at the time he was having them out in the woods.
On
And
those big long
long on pallets,
yeah.
dog house,
Trolleys,
yeah.
yeah,
So when
And
he
they
was
had
having
to
those
climb
dogs,
up into the doghouse.
Yeah.
If they
Right.
wanted to get in the doghouse, they wanted to eat, they had to climb up on another thing.
right, and I saw Knuckles and a couple of the other dogs he had, and some of the females he had, they were incredible with the muscle and stuff like that. So I called Dave up, and when I called him up, I mean, we had a long conversation. He said, well, listen, I'm going to, just to let you know how long ago it was, I'm going to send you a VHS tape with the dogs on it, you know. So he sent me the tape, and I'm looking at all the dogs, and I was impressed and stuff like that, so I talked to him. So he said, well, you know, if you want to get a dog, send a deposit or whatever, and this was actually before he did the breeding. So I did the deposit, and, you know, Dave would, at that time, he would put a ring around the puppy's leg that you chose, so when he sent the video, you know, you would know this is yours, and not, because they all were so similar. So he sent that, and then I think the first breeding I bred, I didn't keep anything off of, but I was able to show him some pictures of it. So he said, you know, he said, you seem to be pretty serious about what you're doing. He said, you know what, I'm gonna take a flight out. And when I take a flight out, I'm going to come out there, you know, look at your yard or whatever. And I said, okay. So he came down and we met and stuff. And, you know, of course, we went a lot of places and went to a lot of people's houses and looked at different things. And then he left. And after he left, that's the breeding, I think, that we bred and made Rolex. And then that's when he was talking to me about doing the Pomona show. And we talked to him about doing the parole. He came out again, and I introduced him to Cruz, because Cruz had brought dogs from me already and stuff. And then we came out there, and did the Pomona show, and we had been, you know, tight ever since. And then he came, and you know, this was years later, because I've known him about 20 years. He told me about the registry he was putting together, and recently the show that he just had, because he asked me to fly down, but I couldn't get off work to go down, and he was doing some different things with crews with some of the Monster G stuff that we had too. So again, it turned out to be a good gelling of the two gene pools and putting the two lines together. And I mean, that's just pretty much the story from how I met him.
All through a VHS tape.
All through a VHS tape.
New Trojans was built on a VHS tape.
When I get a chance, I'm gonna send that to you, Kev, so you can look at it.
The tape.
Yeah, it got all those dogs in there.
That's insane.
I'll let you see the tape.
Yeah, that's
insane.
Yeah, I have it at home.
You could probably clip that in, some of that footage into your stuff.
That would be nice. Yeah.
You have to record it off the TV. I don't know how you convert that over to a digital.
So actually now they do it in the Photoshops. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Okay.
You just take it in and they'll put it on like a CD disc for you. Technology.
Right there.
Oh, it is. Yeah. But yeah, so that's how we got into that, and like I said, it worked well. And then there's other people that came along, like Kev and Noe, and a few other people that came along that really did it some justice and stayed with it. Because I can remember the first time, I think Kev sent me a picture down in this basement with all the puppies down in there running around in the basement, you know, and he had the heaters on and all this stuff. I said, well, yeah, I said, this man right here is going to put it down, you know. So he went on and did his thing and really came out with some really nice puppies that I've been looking at what he has now. It's awesome. You have some awesome things.
You know, when the bully started in the city, man, how was it to be able to meet up with so many different factions? You from this neighborhood, for you this neighborhood, but we're going to keep it about the dogs. How was that process?
Well, you know, first of all, it was very, very, very exciting. And, you know, it was very, you know, I kind of pumped our chests up a little bit because, you know, some people have really expressed a liking for what we were doing. But what ended up happening is this guy over here who might have been from this neighborhood would have this over here. And he'd just be dying, man, you think you can set up this breed between us? And they get together and find out, you know, that they had a lot in common when it came to the dogs. So they said, this other thing, we can put this to the side, you know, and go on and start, you know, doing different things together.
There's not really a lot of things that break down that barrier.
Right, well, that's true. That's true. But, you know, this can be so fulfilling. And learning about the different things and finding out if I try this and try this, that the experiment produces success is so enlightening, so mind-changing.
Yeah,
you know.
I say it all the time. You know, you can be at a show, you can find doctors, lawyers, dope boys, you know, everything in between.
That's right.
What would you find during that time that when you would have something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Law enforcement get nervous, like, oh, I can't believe. Yeah, what's about to break out? What's about to go down? And
I guess the first barbecues were probably pretty stressful.
We went to the Pomona show, and that was one of the main worries we had. And you know, I mean, they told us we had to have. They had like 7 exits. We had to have security guards. We had to have paramedics on site. Okay, dogs could not be walking around loose. They had to be either restrained with a leash or tethered, or either inside their cages.
Right.
You know, they only wanted dogs to be removed when they were going to be seen and then put right back. So, and then there was an insurance issue too. We had to have a certain amount of insurance and this and that and the other. And of course, the fire marshal had to be, couldn't have too many people. I mean, they really were strict on it because they didn't want to do it. So that was the main thing. They just didn't want to do it.
Trying to make you guys jump.
did that even surprise you though that you was able to get people from all different neighborhoods together for the common love of the dog, that they could put that aside for that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. When Ryan first picked me up, the first time I flew in, and he picked me up from LAX. I come walking up, and my hood is red. I had on all red, so he was like, "Oh, you flamed me." He said, "You can't even ride with me."
Yeah.
So I had to put some more clothes on.
Yeah.
I couldn't be with him with all that red on.
That's right. But
How many things, like, other than the dogs, how many things would have made you put a different shirt on to rock,
And how many things would make him let me get in the car with
Yeah,
him?
exactly. Exactly. I mean, there's not many.
Right.
That's a great, that's
Right.
well, like I said, it's a real unifying thing, and one of the main things that I really like about it, not just so much, black and white, but Hispanic, everybody. When I went to Cruz's place the first time, I walked in and I had friends over there, everybody looking at me like, what is he doing over here, stuff like that. But I mean, after the next couple of times I came over there, everybody, hey, what's up, Rob?
He took me to Cruz's crib, man. He had to call and let them know we was coming.
Yeah.
Because they had the whole block on lock.
So
we had to know
yeah.
what kind, and so
Absolutely.
it was lined up, and we had to get the okay to come in. Yeah.
So that was one of the things that was enlightening, and it really showed me there was a lot of unity in it, and these collaborations, they bring about a lot of brotherhood and different things like that, because two brothers get together with the same ideal and they want to have the same outcomes, and so they come together with these things and stuff like that. One of the main things was, remember Fabian with Remy?
Yeah, we just been talking about.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
same thing with Fabian.
He took me over there to see Remy. Fabian lived right there by Venice Beach. And we were hanging out at the beach. So he said, let's go down here. And this dude Fabian got this dog Remy we gonna check out. I think Remy was like 7 months.
Yeah.
And he called it then. He said, this right here, this motherfucker gonna be nice.
Yeah.
And I came back a few months later. Fabian bred him. I think he about 11, 12 months old. With that first breed, remember? And then he had that, I came back a couple weeks later, the puppies was on the ground. And that was the first time I saw kinks. Gray line don't really have kinks. They didn't have kinks back then. Edge had more kinks. So that's the first time I seen puppies with kinks. But that was that litter with Big Nasty and something head. That first litter that Remy had.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was them dogs? Big Nasty and
We just talking about that.
that was his first round. Yeah.
We talking about
But
the
yeah,
whole
he
story,
called
they did the breeding and everything.
Yeah, we went and did the breeding with Raina. We talked about that yesterday.
Two breeds
Joker
y'all
was over
did
here yesterday.
in the one day.
Big
Oh,
Joker.
yeah, Joker, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, I think I
trying to see me.
inseminated one of Remy's breedings.
Yeah,
I did.
that's
I
what we
did.
were telling.
Yeah.
We told that
So-
story yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Go back through it. He said that they were having a problem
We was
getting
at-
together because
we
Raina
was-
was trying to
yeah.
light him up.
trying to get him, yeah.
Yeah, me and him was at Venice
What's
Beach, hanging out again. And Joker called and said, I'm getting ready to do this breeding. He said, but we can't get her bred because Raina's attacking Remy. She's fighting Remy. So he said, we just went and got a muzzle. A muzzle.
Yeah,
We gonna put
yeah.
it. So he was like, tell them goddamn rookies we on our way. Don't even do shit. Fuck that muzzle. So he came and took a leash, wrapped it around her head, put it through her mouth, made some pressure points, said, yeah. Had them hooked up.
Oh, yeah.
Less than 5 minutes, we got
Yeah.
that breeding done. Yep.
Yeah, so-
Then remember we went and bred Stripe to Pink Champel.
Oh,
Compton.
yeah. Oh,
We
yeah.
went to Compton.
yeah.
Yeah, and remember Strike got tied to her for about 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember he wouldn't breathe for like 6 months out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She was a tight
He's
version.
like,
They usually are.
She broke that boy.
Just for the fact of the commonality with the dogs, did you ever think you would take you to different neighborhoods like that? Because probably if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't be able to go.
No, I really thought a lot of it would be for my own personal gratification and so forth and so on. But getting out there, looking at it, because like I said, even when I used to talk to Abel Paul back in the day, oh, well, these dogs are overdone and this and that, and, no, if we go to the show, this and that. And I said, well, that's all right, Tiffany, that's okay.
You see them dogs was
That's
getting
all
too
right.
yoked. They get too yoked.
Yeah, they get to, well, that's kind of unusual. I said, well, this is something we're trying to do, and it was kind of ironic that all of a sudden it all would turn around and she'd be calling me up, hey, Rodney, I'm coming down, can we do MONSTA G? I said, well, yeah, come on down, Tiffany, and then she would bring several of her different, the staffy look ones and get some good dogs out of it, and, then we became good friends because we wanted to keep using them, so, yeah.
How important was it to keep it exclusive though?
Well, it was important if we were going to be selling puppies, because if it's going to say new Trojan, then it had to be exclusive, you know what I mean? So, it would be all right for me for someone to get one and say, you can look down the line on the paperwork and see new Trojan in it. But if you got one that was gonna be, let's say, New Trojan Strike or New Trojan's MONSTA G, exclusivity was important.
When did you first really learn that it was no longer in the city dog, that now it's going out to the masses?
I think I sent a dog to a guy who was looking at our website on the computer from Saudi Arabia. I knew then. I said, this is finna.
What year was that?
Oh,
What year
this
that?
was 90?
1990.
Yeah, 90. And the funny thing about it was, you know,
Where'd DJ go? That motherfucker wasn't even born in 1990.
funny part about it was,
You can see that over there under that quilt.
you know, I got it was one of those packages where it has all the wrappings to say that it's come from another country, and it comes there, and it's the first time it really tripped me Mario out. You know, $5 grand, and he wanted $2 out of 5 breedings, and he said, "Here, we sent the first 2, and the money was there for the rest of them." I knew then. I said, "Oh, Mario, he finna have the money." So, you know.
So, I mean, that's but the business side of it's been that's been an aspect day one.
Well, it was, but for me and Mario, we were trying to get perfection so we could really show off what we had. Now, a lot of the breedings, you know, back then, I mean, to get, you know, $1,500 for a puppy, that was something to be said. A litter of 8 or 9 puppies, you got almost $10,000, $11,000.
When did the money just jump like that?
You know, I guess when, what was old dude's name that had got the dog from Rich, that lives out way out there, the old guy, what's his name? I keep forgetting.
Ed.
Ed started advertising.
He said the old guy.
Yeah, he's still the old guy.
Yeah. So when Ed started advertising, and I mean, to be honest with you, Ed put some real commercialization on all of it, you know. You know, oh, well, you know, my dog this and that, you know, you want to stud 5,000 and all of that. After some of that went down, we didn't really pay too much attention to it. But then there was a guy that had horses out here at Hollywood Park, and he got Strike's brother. And when he got Strike's brother, just messing around, he said, "Yeah, you know, they picked this puppy up, you know, $1,200, you know, $1,500 for shipping." He said, "No problem." He said, "I'll have it next day." And here we are standing there, you know, here comes the UPS with this envelope, and there it is. I said, "Oh man, you know, we can, you know, higher and higher." You know what I mean? That's what I said. So from that point on, you know, that started, and then my boy, I mean, I remember when Rich found out. Oh my God, Rich wanted to. He would have put 4 wheels on the dog and put a Rolls Royce emblem on the forehead if he could. You know what I mean? Because he was gonna make his money off of it. But like I said,
Rich was doing 3-4 breeds a day with guys.
oh man, with every dog in the yard. But the thing, yeah, I'm glad his girlfriend went over there. She'd be bred too. But here's the thing. We were being at that time a little bit more selective. Of course, we wanted to get the money out of the nights once we came out with it and stuff like that. But we wanted to always get better or even establish some consistency. And what ended up happening is we were able to do that, and we were able to give it to, like I said, to other people and sell to other people like Kev.
Right.
And what he's did with it, like I said, it's really, really impressive. And for him to go from basically game dogs, because I mean, we had a long conversation about that game dog stuff.
I was coming straight out of game dogs.
He was like, "Man, well, you know, we don't really like this stuff here because it can't do this and it can't bite, and the bite ain't no good, and this and that and other."
Yeah.
I don't really, you know, I say, "Well, yeah, Kev, but you know, we want to get away from the violent aspect of it and get into more of really having a breed that we can show that looks good to us, and you know, get the recognition that we want to get without having them tear each other up."
Yeah, cutting down
And
that
see, he
aggression.
still has to drive though. He could
Right.
say, see, they still work.
Now,
See,
with that
yeah.
being said, did you get game people who saw your stock and was like, I think I can incorporate that into the game is to do something with it?
Nah.
Well, not so much
Because
that.
game dogs don't want none of that.
No, they don't.
They want to stay.
Yeah, they don't want the
function at a
weight.
high level, yeah.
They don't want the.
No bone weight
no,
and all that,
they
yeah.
don't want none of
I
that.
feel like burn up the
Yeah.
temperatures would be way too high.
That's right.
Right.
And the stamina level would be cut way down.
Right.
Yeah.
And what would it wouldn't add nothing to the dog for no gaming purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered about that.
Yeah, they, and a lot of times, I've heard people, friends of mine that have game dogs, they'll say, I can get a dog out of it. Yeah, man. No, I'm talking about a pit bull, like what we have is not pit bull, I'm talking about a pit bull pit bull. So, and that meant game dog. So
So there was a difference. People were noticing the difference
Oh yeah.
Oh,
way back then.
I
between-
know I
between
came out of
pit
game
bulls
dog,
and-
so he had
Oh, yeah.
explained to me,
yeah.
and made me even like him like that, to love the bullies like that.
Yeah, because he was pretty down on them the first time we talked. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was like, man, I don't know. He said, I'll try a couple of them, but he said, I'm into game dogs. And at the time, I think you were telling me about one of your friends that had got some Wallace or whatever, and had just bought it. He paid all that money, and he got it over there. I think you were telling me about it. And I said, well, man, this is not our thing, And like I said, I didn't know he would convert, but now here he is.
Going back to the Larry Durant days, when you really started putting the shows together, what was the concept behind that? What was the reason behind that?
For the breed to get the recognition that it needed to get, for people to understand that there were some people doing other things with pit bulls besides fighting. That we were proud owners of our animals just like everybody else was. So this was something that was a focus of Larry Durant's.
We want to get away from that stereotype,
Right.
that negative stereotype.
And it's still there. I mean, it's arguably worse now than ever with the dangerous breed laws all over the world and the BSL. And there's like 21 breeds that get classified as a pit bull when they're
Right.
picked up by the dog catcher. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Well, a lot of that's picked up and promoted by the AKC. A lot of that is because here these guys are. They look like what they would phrase. These guys look like hoodlums, and they got these dangerous dogs. Let's curtail it now by doing this.
yeah, they're going as far as like even breeds like Dobermans, boxers, and stuff that should have a crop. Don't even want a crop in the ring anymore. They don't. A Rottweiler should have a dog tail. They don't even want a dog tail in the ring anymore. I feel like because of that association.
And they're the ones that started it. So, go figure that out. They're the ones that came up with the cropping and the docking and so forth. So,
Why do you think you see a lot of the OG breeders really get out of it now?
a lot of things are changing now. There a lot of this pocket pit stuff and watering them down with that. I mean, to me, it really has adjusted the way a lot of people look at it now. You look at this dog that can barely breathe and walks funny and, doesn't really display any real physique at all. And people are looking at that and saying, is this what I'm going to get? And that's what makes so important what Kevin's doing and a lot of you guys are doing is to stay true to what we bought, because that's why a lot of people are turning away. They're turning away from it now because of that. And I mean, anytime you see a dog with a pit bull a body and a Frenchy head, that's kind of disgusting, don't you think? A pit bull body and a Frenchy head. Again, that's one of the things that have really been one of the people making people get away from it, and they're asking, what's happening to the breed? What's going on with it? Genetically, it's changing. The appearance of what a pit bull is supposed to be is changing, and so therefore the followers and the people who have been involved in it is changing.
Right. Who are some of the people that you were like, Kev, talks about he took a lot of his stuff from you.
Mhm.
A lot of us that are doing it now taking a lot of the stuff that we do from Keva. Who were you taking stuff from? Who was doing things that you were kind of inspired by?
Well, I've always been inspired by genetics, and then I always have loved the breed, the pit bull breed. And the first time I saw, I met Tony actually, and then the first time, I couldn't get any kind of reactions out of him at all. He wouldn't do anything, But I did meet with Warren, and we got together with Camacho and did the breeding. And when we got together with Camacho and did the breeding, Warren was good friends with Tony. And so at the time, I was able to get to Tony and went several times to try to see if we could do something, set up something where I could get something from him, and nothing happened. And then on the final time, there was a guy that Tony had sold Mustang and SHOCKA to. His name was Carl Bishop. And when he sold him to him, something happened where he ended up being incarcerated. And I was able to get both. And when he found out I had both of them, he opened way up because they had come out of his yard. So, we were able to do some things from that point on.
Just thinking about that during that time, how did Tony feel with the start of the whole Gotti line and the whole movement behind Juan Gotti?
He didn't like that too much. He didn't like it much at all because he thought it should be under the banner of Gray Line. And
Which I think a lot of people still feel that way now.
but you have to understand that
See, a lot of them newbies don't even know. They never heard of Gray Line.
right.
Exactly.
But the
That's
thing
kind of a
is
fucking travesty in my opinion.
yes. But the thing is if he hadn't put certain dogs together and then said, okay, I'm going to go this way and call it Gotti Line, then it could be something else, Tree Line, or Dog Line, or anything.
Did he even like the name Bullies during that time? Because he really was more on the pit side, right?
Yeah, and then they weren't really, Bullies didn't come up to sometime later. Much later, they started calling them Bullies. And the Bullies really spin off of the ADBA line of dogs. They started calling them Bullies. And I remember the first time I heard that referred to, I was like, well, what are they talking about, a bully? What, dog got a bull in it or something? But, then they started to say, no, these are the dogs that we consider working dogs, the weight pullers and all of those. And then when they started to come to some of our shows and stuff, and we started to cross over them, then the word bully became instrumental in the whole thing. Everybody started saying bully.
How did you feel about it during that time?
Well, the money kept coming in. No, not so much that.
You can call it what you want.
You call it, yeah, that's right. It's all about the dollars, baby. No. I didn't have a problem with it because anything that got us away from the stereotype of game dogs, I was with it.
Right. The street image.
Right. And even with the conversion of Tiffany at Abelpaul, she wouldn't call nothing bully. Oh, it's not correct. It's not this, and like I said, and then all of a sudden, I looked up and she was talking to a guy, and she said, "Oh yeah, well we have the bully breed here." So I knew then, because she was straight UKC, and with her being straight UKC and now being able to acknowledge it, it had come, it was its time.
Official, right?
Now, were you involved in any way in the early beginnings when they were really putting the ABKC together? Did they really reach out to people?
Yeah, they did, but to me, at that time, with it already being 3 big registries, I didn't really think that
Which were who?
UKC, AKC, and ADBA, with them already being there, I didn't really think it would be a feasible thing for us to separate off into, because then it would take the whole dog community and put, separation in between them. And then if the registry wasn't really recognized, and this being in record, then, would the judges start to say, okay, ABKC and this, but they start to say that this, but Dave, he stuck with it, and it seems like it's still going pretty strong. So, but this was just a miscalculation, I guess, because, like I said, UKC and those were around so long, and
I mean, you just didn't expect it to
I
go.
didn't expect it to take off. No, I didn't. To be honest, no.
And that, now it's 20 some countries and, you know, shows all over the world. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody, my point is, I don't think anybody expected it to
To do that.
do that, you know? Who the fuck predicted that, man?
No, and the main thing about it is you know, Dave and Cruz put a lot of legwork behind it, you know, and with that legwork behind it, like I said, it took off, you know, it took off. But like I said, I went to a show not that long ago. I just went there actually for a few minutes because we had to go I'm an animal care technician for the city of Los Angeles, and we had to issue out a permit for when they had the sports arena out in Los Angeles, and you know, they had a lot of those pocket pits there. And like I said, I was amazed at the amount of people. It was packed. And I was amazed.
Yeah.
You know, I was really amazed at that. You know, for something to be that new and, you know, for it to be recognized, it's taken off.
What
So
show was it?
it was, you know, I
Was
don't
it
know.
IBR show?
It could have been that,
I think it
yeah.
was IBR.
Yeah, because Richard was there
When
too.
he says pocket
Richard
pits,
was
he's
there.
talking about
Exotics.
Yeah.
Yeah, the exotic,
Exotics,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. So,
Now, you work at the animal control,
right,
and you got how many dogs? You got locked down there, like 400 dogs.
at least. Yeah.
You see a lot of bullies.
Oh yeah, one got
Was
me
it
the other
Chihuahuas?
day. That's why I had the song.
The Chihuahuas, you see a lot of those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I went to the one in that area, that's what you mainly see.
Yeah.
Chihuahua.
Bullies
Yeah,
and
what area?
Chihuahuas. DC.
Oh, so yeah. Well, yeah, you know, yeah, those Chihuahuas and Pit Bulls. Yeah, a lot of.
I was surprised by that. Chihuahuas. I don't know why would it be allowed. They're so noisy, right?
Yeah.
When did you actually start to slow down and really back away from it a little bit?
Well, like I said, and Kev could attest to this. After a while, the market got flooded. It really did. I mean, you know, there were, I guess in the recording industry, they call them one-hit wonders. A lot of them coming out there just buying 2, 3 dogs from you, and then next thing you know, I'm such and such kennel, you know. And they had flooded the market with so much stuff, and, you know, I'd be getting calls today, well, you know, I bought a puppy from such and such and such, and it says new Trojan. Can you tell me where this goes back to? And some of it would be true, some of it wouldn't. And then when it started to get so out of line and where it just seemed like every kennel, every day a new one was popping up, every day, and then they
Blue this, blue that.
Oh, everything was blue.
Everything was blue.
Yeah.
everything was blue.
That
And
was-
so
when
what
I came
happened-
in, that everybody, everything
I
was
wanted
blue.
blue,
Yeah,
Blue
so
everything.
so it watered it down considerably, and then there was just a lot of people that were just doing breedings and putting names out and throwing names here and saying this and saying that, and then you see some of that stuff on there and you say, that's not none of my stuff, you know. So it got it to where it brought the market way down. You know, people were saying, you know, well, I can go over to such and such kennel, you know, he said his puppies are $500, you know, and then some were 50, you know, he went, you know, so it got to be where it just,
We're still seeing it right now.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
right.
still now.
right, so
Making
it
out
just
a
wasn't
subpar
feasible,
dogs.
it wasn't feasible,
Yeah.
and
Way below.
it came
I
to
wouldn't
where
call
we just
subpar,
decided
just-
Right.
we would just try to keep what we had strong and not be so much focused anymore, keep the hobby going, but not focus on the sales part as much as we can, you know, so.
Do you find yourself still doing that to this day? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I can't remember even changing anything on my website in a long time. But I talked to Kim and a lot of the guys from the lounge, and you know, we still talk about different things and we want to still keep certain things, but the sales aspect, nah, not into it.
What's the most enjoyable you experience dealing with the bullies, and what's the worst thing you experienced dealing with the bullies?
I think the most enjoyable thing for me, and it was that guy Swiss Beast flew down. That's a pitch wolf. Swiss Beast flew down from New York, came out here and got a couple of dogs from me. And you know, I mean, you know, he gave me his number and everything. I'll tell everybody, you know, Swiss Beast out here, man. Watch this on color right now. You know? So that was enjoyable. But I think that's probably one of the most favorite things in meeting this gentleman here, because I would have never thought he was as serious as he was. Because everybody was just in it, like I said, to make money. But to be consistent and to keep the breed where it needs to be, I noticed that that's what something. And I know you've seen this puppy, so you know that he's doing this thing. So that's probably the two best things I can think of. Now, if I was to think the downside about it is what they're doing now. They're really, really changing everything around to where this is not what it was intended to be. It's just the strong people that are keeping it, you know, straight ahead, but this is not what it was intended to be. Nobody was intended to say, okay, well, we will go out and buy some pocket pits. What is that?
Could you even walk around with a dog like that in South Central?
No. They probably said, what pet shop did you get that from? Yeah. No.
He said pet shop.
Yeah, because that's all it is a pet, you know. But no, we would.
Let me ask you, what's your top 3 dogs?
Oh, Mustang, SHOCKA, and well, top 4: Mustang, SHOCKA, MONSTA G, and REMY. I love Strike, beautiful dog. I love Rolex, beautiful dog. But these are the ones that I got some of the most consistent stuff out of. So, well.
Could you see yourself getting back heavily involved with the breed now?
Yeah, if, you know, I could.
Even what's going on now with the whole social media phenomenon, because you know now it's everybody on the Facebook, the Instagram. It's not just one area anymore.
He learned how to go live now, so he gonna fit right in.
Yeah, I sure did. By accident. Yeah, by accident. I was like, hey, that's me. Yeah.
Is that a strange world that though you could be talking to somebody all the way in another country?
Man, to me, technology has come so far and it's so deep now that, I mean, you know, we just recently got a doorbell where you can see yourself from wherever you're at. I mean, see who is at the door from wherever you're at. I mean, I look at this stuff, all of these different things, man, it's amazing. I'm 58 years old. I look at this and stuff, I'm wondering, you know, are you guys going to be breeding sit bulls pretty soon? You know, who knows? You know, I don't know. It's just technology has come so far, you don't know where we might be. But I'll say this, from a developmental standpoint, putting technology to the side, Kev and them have really brought a real solidness to this breeding thing. And where we did a lot of hit and missing now, I've just seen, you know, consistency in every area. And like I said, the only thing I think I would want to improve in what he's doing now is people being aware of what they're doing by, you know, switching over and going to this stuff that's not where we intended to be, where not you guys had intended to be, for them to be aware by looking at this consistency and understanding that you don't have to, you know, you don't have to tear it up. If you want a Frenchie, buy a Frenchie. If you want a pit bull, get a pit bull. But they shouldn't be, you know, brought together.
But I guess it's so crazy because of the whole money aspect involved with it.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you would have had a chance at that time to see the mad rush of people who got into it for that only, and a lot of them you don't even hear about anymore. This guy in Oklahoma, what was his name? Had the big ranch with all those dogs.
Boy, it's been so many.
Oh, he was in Oklahoma, but he had this big giant ranch, and it was so surprising to see him selling the ranch and all the dogs for something like, I think he said he was trying to sell it for $500,000. What was that man's name? I don't remember his name, but Muggleson Kennels.
Oh, you said that earlier.
Muggleson. He was trying to sell the whole operation for like $500,000, and you know, it was like that with him from the beginning. He's got dogs from us too, and the whole thing was he wasn't really concerned about where he was going with the breeding. He was just concerned about doing as many breedings as possible and getting as much money out of it.
That was the first time I ever seen a $10,000 price tag.
Oh, my dog.
Muggleston's website.
Right.
And
I said, what the
he had
fuck?
about
10,000.
he had about 12 breedings up all at the same time.
Yeah.
He was putting out some puppies.
Yeah. And claiming 140
35,
pounds, 35
Oh,
inch
yeah.
heads,
Right. That's right.
crazy numbers.
Tipping the scale for you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But I really appreciate you, man.
I
Just coming on,
appreciate it too, man.
sharing your knowledge and what's going on out here with the breed.
For me, it's surreal as fuck. Like I said,
And we've been waiting on you to get you here, boys. And I say, nah, we gonna catch his ass.
Oh, yeah.
And I say, I'm not even gonna tell him. We gonna sit him down and get them cameras rolling.
Oh, well, I was gonna make sure I got out here. This is my anniversary, my beautiful wife and I.
Right.
We're gonna
And
head
happy
on.
anniversary
Happy
to you.
anniversary.
Thank you.
Look,
Thank
it's 1 year.
you. 1 year.
I was here 1 year ago, this same time for the wedding.
Same day.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you can make our wedding
And
if you
we-
hurry
yeah.
up.
And look, I was rushing. They had to wait on me. We was running on our people time.
Hey, I tried to clue you in, man, but I was hoping you wouldn't answer that question wrong.
But again, man, like I said, it's my pleasure. It really is. And like I said, I just hope you guys keep doing what you're doing. You know, you guys are representing. And like I said, like I would always tell anybody, if you're getting people repping it the right way, it's going to stay strong. You know what I mean?
so that's why, for me, that's why I want people to know, like, where it comes from. A
Right.
lot of, like we were saying, a lot of these motherfuckers don't know what really is behind it. I guarantee if you look, most people, if you look in your pedigree back far enough, you're gonna see new Trojan somewhere.
Right.
You're going to see it. If it's Bully now, it's got new Trojans behind it somewhere. I promise.
If you fuck with lounge blood, if you like Midwest Monstas lounge blood, it's directly related to him. All my breedings came from him. My style of breedings came from him. He taught me all about this game. Like we just said, I come from game dogs. So he made me have love for bullies. Without him, it wouldn't have been the lounge. So
But real talk, you guys just continue doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Keep it strong. Don't stray off the path. Just stay with
don't
you guys.
sell out.
Oh, heck no. Because
Yeah.
you guys, man, you guys got some fine looking animals. I've been looking at, like I said, the websites that are connected with him and stuff like that. And I know you guys are doing excellent things. So just keep it going. That's all I can do.
Do you ever get young breeders come to you for consultation?
All the time. But a lot of times their focus is not what it should be. Yeah, it's different. It's, they told me the bigger the head the dog is, the more money. They're not concerned about nothing else
But
but
they're
that. And see, like I said, there's nothing wrong with you selling your product. There's nothing wrong with you getting the money you're supposed to get.
Yeah, it is a business still. But
That's right, but stay true to you. Don't have to start going off script, just for money.
thanks for your time, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, well.
I got a question. If that is not off the record since it's over now,
Okay.
they can edit this part out.
Okay.
My name is Derek Martin, man. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
my buddy on the left right there.